Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take your sources and pull out the most interesting stuff.
Mm.
Today we're going back to the 1930s.
Ooh, the
Yeah,
1930s.
to explore some really fascinating discourses from a spiritual teacher named Saint Germain.
It's what's really interesting is that these teachings, they came about during a period of global upheaval.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the Great Depression, the rise of political extremism, when people were really yearning for hope and guidance.
yeah, I can imagine. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are looking for that today too.
Yeah, very much so.
You might be surprised to learn that Saint Germain's talks, they centered on this idea of the I am presence.
He described it as like this divine spark within each of us, the same power he claimed Jesus used to perform miracles.
Hold on, so he's saying we all have this incredible power within us.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold claim.
It is. And what's fascinating is how he connected this inner power to the problems of the outer world.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got excerpts from over 30 of these discourses delivered between 1932 and 1935.
And these weren't just casual talks, he was broadcasting them.
Really?
Yeah. Through amplifiers.
Amplifiers.
Amplifiers, which was practically unheard of at the time, this technology.
Wait, seriously, amplifiers in the 1930s. That's wild. He was way ahead of his time.
He was. And, he even describes attending this New Year's Eve gathering with over 200 ascended masters.
Ascended masters, like some kind of spiritual elite. Okay, this is getting interesting.
He doesn't hold back on the details either. He talks about circles of archangels, divas, which are like nature spirits,
Okay.
and even gods of the mountains.
Gods of the mountains. That sounds pretty out there.
It does, but remember, these teachings, they come from a specific spiritual tradition.
Right.
And whether or not you believe in those beings, the core message is about tapping into a higher power within yourself.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so let's get into the specifics of his teachings. One of the things that stood out to me is his claim that we can actually manifest physical objects from the invisible realm. He calls it precipitation.
Yes. He even claimed that individuals could precipitate gold, jewels, anything they desired, just through focused thought and feeling.
Wait a minute. So he's saying we can just think things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit skeptical, but tell me more.
It's definitely a challenging concept, but it speaks to like a central theme in his teachings,
Hmm.
this power of our thoughts and beliefs to shape our reality.
Yeah, okay. So he also talks about the importance of accepting what he calls the mighty active presence of God within,
Right.
rather than focusing on the outer appearance of things.
He emphasizes that focusing only on the external, it leads to limitation.
So it's about recognizing a deeper reality beyond the surface level. Yeah. He even shares this story about a person who was saved from falling off a cliff because their I am presence instantly created a form to catch them.
Wow. While the story might seem incredible, it points to a deeper truth about the power of belief, and the potential that exists within us.
He also talks about projecting an electronic belt around ourselves or others for protection simply by using the affirmation, I am the protective electronic belt around.
Wait, electronic belt. What does that even mean in this context?
That's what I was wondering. It sounds a bit strange.
It does, but it's essentially about visualizing a protective energy field.
So it's not a literal electronic belt?
No, it's more about harnessing the power of thought and intention to create a sense of safety and security.
Okay, that makes more sense. So he really believed that we could use our minds to influence the world around us.
He did, and he emphasized that this power could be used for both good and bad.
That makes sense, yeah. Any power can be misused.
Right. He warned against manipulating others through thought and stressed the importance of recognizing the divine spark in every individual.
That sounds particularly relevant in today's world,
Yeah.
with all the information overload and social media negativity.
It is. And Saint Germain's teachings, they remind us to focus on the positive, to see the good in ourselves and others.
Yeah, that's a good point. He also talks about self-correction,
Yes.
about recognizing our mistakes and using what he calls the law of forgiveness to clear our past creations.
This resonates with taking responsibility for our lives instead of blaming external factors.
It's about acknowledging our power to change.
Exactly.
This I am presence thing keeps popping up.
Yes. It's really the foundation of his teachings. He emphasizes that it's not something we achieve, but something we already are.
So it's like our true essence, our connection to the divine.
Exactly.
He also encourages us to embrace our childlike wonder and imagination,
Yeah.
reminding us that we are all gods and goddesses in embryo
I love that.
with the potential to achieve great things.
It's a beautiful concept.
Okay, this is a lot to take in.
It is a lot.
He covers some pretty wild concepts.
He does, and it's important to approach these teachings with discernment.
Right.
Take what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Yeah, that makes sense. What stands out to you so far?
I'm intrigued by his emphasis on the power of our thoughts and beliefs.
Me too. It's a powerful reminder that we have more control over our lives than we often realize.
And that by aligning ourselves with our I am presence, we can tap into a source of unlimited potential.
It definitely gives you something to think about.
It does, and we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore in Saint Germain's teachings.
Well, I'm definitely hooked. Let's dive deeper.
Let's do it. So remember how Saint Germain talked about attending that New Year's Eve gathering with over 200 ascended masters?
Yeah, that definitely caught my attention. It sounds like the ultimate spiritual VIP party.
Well, he claimed it took place at the Royal Teton.
A mountain in Wyoming. And he goes into a lot of detail about the scene.
Okay, tell me more. What was it like?
He described circles of archangels, divas, which are like nature spirits, and even gods of the mountains.
Gods of the mountains. I mean, I'm trying to keep an open mind here, but that's a lot to process.
It is. And it speaks to the idea that, there are levels of spiritual beings kind of beyond our comprehension.
So, what was the purpose of this gathering?
Saint Germain described a core of light that radiated powerful energy from the gathering to all parts of the earth.
Like some kind of spiritual energy boost for the planet.
Exactly.
I'm curious, what did he have to say about America?
Well, he repeatedly refers to America as the jewel in the heart of God.
Wow, that's quite a statement. I wonder why he felt so strongly about America.
He believed that America had this special destiny, a crucial role to play in ushering in this new era of peace and enlightenment. It's interesting that he connected spiritual evolution to, a nation's destiny.
It is, and he even describes this moment during a music festival at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Where a divine pattern for a future holy city upon earth was lowered into position.
A holy city upon earth. Where's this supposed to be located?
He doesn't give a specific location, but he claims that it will eventually become visible, like a vibrant city of light.
Okay.
A spiritual beacon for the world.
It's a bold vision for sure. So you're telling me Saint Germain envisioned a future where America was leading the way spiritually.
That seems to be his perspective.
Interesting. He also talked about the signing of the Declaration of Independence as like a pivotal moment in America's spiritual evolution, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He even suggested that the original Constitution of the United States was divinely inspired.
Okay. I can see why some people might find that, controversial.
Right. But regardless of your political views, it's fascinating that, he saw such a strong connection between spiritual principles and the founding of America.
Yeah, it definitely adds a new layer to how we think about history.
It does.
For someone who claimed to be centuries old, Saint Germain seemed pretty interested in current events.
He did. It's like he saw this connection between what was happening in the world and the spiritual evolution of humanity.
He wasn't just some detached mystic living in a cave. He was engaged with what was going on.
Right. And he seemed particularly concerned about the misuse of power, especially mental power.
So he was saying our thoughts could be used to harm others.
He was. And he warned against any attempt to manipulate or control others through thought.
That's a powerful message,
Yeah.
especially in an age of information overload and social media where it's it's so easy to get caught up in negativity.
It's a reminder that we have a responsibility to use our thoughts and words wisely.
He also talked about the importance of self-mastery, didn't he?
Yes, he emphasized that seeking mastery over ourselves, it's the key to true freedom.
What did he mean by that?
He believed that true freedom, it comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
It's about overcoming, our negative habits, our limiting beliefs,
right,
and aligning ourselves with our, higher nature, with the the I am presence.
So it's not about freedom from external circumstances, but freedom from our own inner limitations.
Exactly.
That's a powerful concept. It's almost like saying, the real prison is the one we create in our own minds.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do we achieve this self-mastery? What were some of the techniques he suggested?
Well, he talked a lot about the power of affirmations and decrees, about using the spoken word to align ourselves with the I am presence.
He seemed to believe that our words, they have this creative power.
He did. He taught that by repeating certain phrases with conviction and feeling, we can tap into a higher power and bring about positive change in our lives.
So it's about using language consciously to shift our mindset and create a new reality.
Exactly.
Can you give me an example of one of these affirmations?
Sure. One that he often used was, I am the light of God shining everywhere.
I am the light of God shining everywhere. It's a simple phrase, but it feels powerful when you say it out loud.
Right. And he believed that by repeating affirmations like this, we could gradually transform our consciousness and align ourselves with our divine nature.
It's like reprogramming our minds with positive statements.
That's a good analogy. And he also emphasized the importance of visualizing what we desire.
Yeah.
Of creating a clear mental picture of our, goals and dreams.
So it's about combining the power of words with the power of imagination.
Exactly. He believed that by using these techniques together, we could, amplify our creative power and manifest our desires more effectively.
Did he talk about any specific methods for visualization?
He did. He suggested finding a quiet place where you won't be disturbed.
Right.
And spending a few minutes each day just visualizing your desired outcome.
Like a mini meditation practice.
Exactly. He encouraged people to make it a regular part of their routine, brushing their teeth or eating breakfast.
He also emphasized the importance of feeling the emotions associated with our desires. He believed that by combining thought, feeling, and visualization, we could really amplify our creative power.
Right. It's about engaging all aspects of our being, in the process of manifestation.
This is starting to make a lot of sense to me. It's like we're not just passive observers, of our lives, but active creators of our reality.
That's exactly the point he was trying to make. He wanted people to understand their own power. And to use it wisely.
He was really ahead of his time in many ways.
He was. He was talking about things like the power of the mind and the importance of positive thinking decades before these ideas became, mainstream.
What were some of the other criticisms of Saint Germain's teachings?
Well, aside from the historical questions, some people found his claims about manifesting physical objects to be outlandish.
Yeah.
The idea that you could just precipitate gold out of thin air.
Right.
It seemed to defy logic and science.
I can see why some people might be, skeptical about that.
Of course. But remember, Saint Germain, he wasn't speaking from a purely scientific perspective.
No.
He was operating from a spiritual framework.
Yeah.
Where consciousness is seen as, the primary force shaping reality.
So from that perspective, it's not about breaking the laws of physics, but about transcending them.
Exactly. It's about understanding that there's more to reality than what we can perceive with our senses.
Didn't he also talk about using the violet flame?
Yes, he did. He described it as the spiritual energy that can transmute negative energy into positive energy.
So it's like a spiritual cleansing agent.
That's a good way to think about it. He believed that the violet flame could be used for healing, forgiveness, and purification.
How did he suggest people use it?
He encouraged his students to invoke the violet flame by repeating this specific mantra.
Good.
I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires.
I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires.
I like that.
Right.
It's simple, but it has a powerful resonance. And he suggested visualizing a violet flame, consuming any negativity or obstacles in your path.
It's almost like a mental and emotional detox.
Exactly. And he believed that that by regularly using the violet flame, we could gradually, purify our consciousness and create a more harmonious life.
these teachings are full of, fascinating techniques and concepts. Did he have anything to say about relationships?
He did. He talked about the importance of choosing our partners wisely, of
Right.
finding someone who is aligned with our spiritual goals and aspirations.
So it's not just about like physical attraction or shared interest, but about this deeper spiritual connection.
Exactly. And he believed that our relationships could be this powerful catalyst for spiritual growth
Mhm.
if we approach them consciously.
Did he offer any like specific advice on how to find a spiritually compatible partner?
He suggested focusing on our own spiritual development first and foremost. He
Yeah.
believed that by becoming the best version of ourselves, we would, naturally attract a partner who was also on a spiritual path.
So it's about like aligning ourselves with the qualities we desire in a partner.
That's right. And he also encouraged people to use their intuition and discernment when choosing a partner,
Yeah.
to listen to their inner guidance
Right.
and not just follow their emotions or desires.
It sounds like he believed that that our relationships should like support our spiritual evolution,
Exactly.
not hinder it.
And he saw relationships as this opportunity to learn and grow together,
Yeah.
to support each other on the path to, enlightenment.
He also talked about the importance of self-love, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He emphasized that we cannot truly love others until we love ourselves.
That makes sense. It's hard to give what you don't have.
Exactly. And he believed that self-love, it was not about ego or vanity,
Mm.
but about recognizing our inherent worthiness and divinity.
Did he offer any specific practices for cultivating self-love?
He did. He suggested things like affirmations, spending time in nature, and practicing forgiveness. He
Mm.
also encouraged people to treat themselves with kindness and compassion,
Right.
to speak to themselves with loving words, and to celebrate their strengths and accomplishments.
I like that. It's about treating ourselves the way we would treat a beloved friend or family member.
Exactly.
I've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the I am presence to the violet flame to
Yeah.
the power of affirmations and decrees.
Mhm.
It's a lot to absorb.
It is, but remember, the key is to take what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Right.
Experiment with the techniques that appeal to you,
Hmm?
and see what works for you.
What else did Saint Germain talk about?
Well, he also had some pretty fascinating things to say about other realms of consciousness.
Like what?
He talked about the astral realm, the etheric realm, and the realms of the ascended masters.
Okay, those sound pretty far out.
Yeah.
What are they like exactly?
He described them as realms that exist beyond our physical senses,
Hmm.
and that we can access through meditation and spiritual development.
So he's talking about like different dimensions of reality.
Right. And he claimed to have traveled to these realms himself
Wow.
and to have interacted with the beings who reside there.
That sounds pretty incredible.
Oh.
Did he say anything about like what these realms were like?
He did. He described them as realms of light, beauty, and harmony.
Okay.
He said that in these realms, like limitations, they cease to exist, and that we can experience a level of freedom and joy that is like unimaginable in the physical world.
So it's like a higher state of being.
Exactly. And he believed that by developing our spiritual faculties, we could gradually access these realms,
Right.
and eventually even reside there permanently.
It's a fascinating concept, but it's hard to wrap my head around it completely. Did he say anything about how we can access these realms?
He did. He emphasized the importance of meditation, of quieting the mind and connecting with our inner divinity.
Right.
He also talked about the importance of living a virtuous life, of cultivating qualities like love, compassion, and forgiveness.
So it's not just about like sitting on a meditation cushion for hours on end. It's about embodying these spiritual principles, in our daily lives.
Exactly. He believed that by aligning ourselves with our higher nature, we would naturally become more attuned to these higher realms of consciousness.
It's almost like we raise our vibration to match the vibration of these realms.
That's a good way to think about it.
Mm.
He also talked about the possibility of the soul traveling out of the body during sleep.
Oh, yeah.
He called this astral projection.
I've heard of that. It's like a conscious out of body experience.
Exactly. And he even gave specific instructions for using, the I am presence for protection during these journeys.
That's interesting. Why did he think protection was necessary?
He believed that the astral realm could be a dangerous place. That there were, negative entities there.
Oh, okay.
That could harm us if we weren't careful.
So it's like a spiritual jungle out there.
In a way, yes. He stressed the importance of being, prepared and protected when venturing into these realms.
This is a lot to take in.
Ew.
It's like he's opening up this whole new world of possibilities.
He is. His teachings, they challenge us to expand our understanding of what's possible and to embrace the vastness of creation.
I'm curious, did he talk about any specific beings or entities that reside in these realms?
He did. He talked about ascended masters,
Mm-hmm.
beings who have achieved spiritual mastery and who continue to work behind the scenes to guide and assist humanity.
So they're like spiritual guides.
Exactly. And he claimed to have, met and interacted with many ascended masters, including Jesus, Buddha, and a master he called the Master Himalaya.
Wow, that's quite a lineup. Did he say anything about the role of these ascended masters?
He did.
Yeah.
He said that they are constantly working to help us evolve and to raise the consciousness of humanity. He believed that we could, call upon them for assistance and guidance, and that they were always available to help us on our spiritual journey.
It's comforting to think that that there are beings out there who are rooting for us, who are helping us along the way.
It is. And he also talked about the importance of connecting with our own inner master, our own I am presence. He believed that by cultivating this strong connection to, our inner divinity, we would naturally become more aligned with the ascended masters and their teachings.
It's like we have the potential to become masters ourselves.
Exactly. He believed that we all have the capacity for spiritual mastery. That it's not, something that's reserved for a select few.
It's an empowering message. It's like saying, we're not just students on this spiritual path. We have the potential to become teachers ourselves.
That's a great way to put it.
It's amazing to think that that these teachings were delivered in the 1930s.
Yeah.
They seem so relevant today.
They do, don't they? It's like he was speaking to our current time. To the challenges and opportunities that we're, facing as a species.
I'm also curious about some of the more esoteric concepts he discussed.
Yeah.
Like the idea of precipitating gold.
Right.
Did he offer any practical guidance on how to achieve this?
He did, but he emphasized that it was this highly advanced technique that required a great deal of spiritual purification and self-mastery.
So it's not something you can just do overnight.
Right. He believed that we had to purify our thoughts, emotions, and actions before we could even begin to work with these higher forces.
What were some of the other principles he emphasized?
He talked about the importance of living in harmony with nature, of respecting all forms of life, and of using our creative power wisely.
Right.
He also encouraged people to develop their spiritual faculties, like intuition and imagination.
Did he have anything specific to say about the role of music and art in spiritual development?
He did. He believed that music and art could be powerful tools for raising consciousness and connecting with the divine. He encouraged people to listen to uplifting music, to surround themselves with beautiful art, and to express their own creativity through music, art, writing, or any other form of self-expression.
It sounds like he believed that beauty was a pathway to the divine.
He did. He saw beauty in everything,
right,
from the natural world to human creation. He believed that by cultivating an appreciation for beauty, we could awaken to the divine spark within ourselves and in all things.
This has been an an incredibly insightful dive into the teachings of Saint Germain.
Hmm.
What are some of the key takeaways that we can apply to our own lives?
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is the reminder that we are, powerful creators of our own reality.
Right.
Saint Germain emphasized that we have the power to choose our thoughts, beliefs, and actions,
Mm.
and that by aligning ourselves with the I am presence, we can tap into this source of unlimited potential.
Right. It's not about being like passive recipients of fate,
Uh-huh.
but about actively shaping, our lives.
Exactly. And he also stressed the importance of self-responsibility,
Yeah.
of recognizing that we are the authors of our own experience.
It's about taking, ownership of our lives, both the good and the bad.
Exactly. And he also encouraged us to, cultivate a positive mental attitude,
Yeah.
to focus on the good in ourselves and in others.
That's so important, especially in a world that, that can feel so negative and overwhelming.
It is. He believed that negativity, it breeds more negativity, whereas, positivity creates like this upward spiral of growth and expansion.
It's like choosing to focus on the light,
Mhm.
rather than the darkness.
Exactly. And he also encouraged us to, develop our spiritual faculties,
Yeah.
like intuition, imagination, and creativity.
Yeah.
He saw these as innate gifts
Mm.
that could be cultivated through practice,
Right.
and that by using them wisely, we could enhance our lives and make a positive contribution to the world.
It's about tapping into like our full potential as human beings.
Exactly.
So, in a nutshell, Saint Germain's teachings are about like empowering ourselves, recognizing our divine nature, and using our power to create, a more positive and harmonious world.
That's a great summary. And I think his teachings are just as relevant today, as they were in the 1930s, maybe even more so.
I agree. They offer a path to navigate the complexities of, modern life,
Hmm.
and to create a future that is aligned with our highest aspirations.
Now, before we wrap up our, deep dive, it's important to acknowledge that there have been some criticisms and controversies, surrounding Saint Germain and his teachings.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Right.
What are some of the main points of contention?
Well, aside from the lack of concrete historical evidence to support his claims of longevity in past lives,
Hmm.
some people have raised concerns about his emphasis on personal power and abundance.
I can see how that could be misinterpreted.
Right. Some people worry that this focus on personal power could lead to a self-centered approach to spirituality.
It's a valid concern.
It is. But it's important to remember that Saint Germain also emphasized, the importance of using one's power for good and serving humanity.
Right. He saw personal transformation as this stepping stone to creating positive change, in the world.
Exactly. And he taught that true abundance encompasses, not just material wealth, but also spiritual riches,
Right.
love, compassion, wisdom, and joy.
So it's not just about accumulating possessions, but about cultivating a rich inner life.
That's right. And he encouraged his students to use their newfound power to uplift others and contribute to the betterment of, society.
It's about using our power to make a positive impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that that no spiritual teaching is perfect or, without its critics.
Right. Ultimately, it's up to each individual to discern what resonates with them, and to take what's helpful while leaving the rest behind.
I agree. And that's the beauty of, exploring diverse spiritual teachings. We
Mhm.
can learn from different perspectives.
Right.
And create our own, unique path.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, let's let's keep in mind that Saint Germain's teachings, like all spiritual teachings, are meant to be a guide, not a dogma.
Right. It's about taking what resonates with us
Hmm.
and using it to, to empower our lives and to create a better world.
I'm ready to delve deeper into some of the more controversial aspects of Saint Germain's
Please
teachings.
do it.
All right, so we've covered a lot of really interesting stuff, but there's that elephant in the room. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The skepticism
Yeah.
and even controversy, surrounding Saint Germain.
Yeah, you're right. It's important to acknowledge those perspectives because not everyone is, on board with his teachings.
Yeah, and some critics say there's just not enough historical evidence to back up his claims about, living for centuries and being present at like all these major historical events.
That's a valid point. The historical records regarding the Count de Saint-Germain, they're fragmented
Wow.
and often contradictory.
Yeah.
Some people dismiss him as like a charlatan, while others believe he was, this genuine spiritual adept.
So it's kind of a historical mystery. We may never know for sure, but does it really matter if the teachings themselves, hold value?
That's the question, isn't it? For many who resonate with Saint-Germain's message, the historical details are less important than the transformative power that they've experienced.
It's like judging a book by its cover,
Exactly.
instead of actually like reading it. Another criticism is that some of his teachings, like precipitating gold, they seem to contradict like basic laws of physics.
It's understandable why those claims raise eyebrows, but remember Saint-Germain wasn't speaking from a purely scientific perspective. He was operating from a spiritual framework,
Right.
where consciousness is seen as the primary force, shaping reality.
So from that viewpoint, maybe the impossible becomes, possible.
He also stressed that mastering such abilities requires immense spiritual development
Yeah.
and purification. It's not some quick trick you can learn overnight.
It's about aligning yourself with a higher power, like a deeper understanding of the universe.
Exactly.
I've also heard some people say that Saint Germain's teachings can be a bit too focused on personal power and abundance.
That's a fair critique. There's a risk that focusing solely on those aspects could lead to like a self-centered approach to spirituality.
Like it becomes all about me, me, me.
Right, but it's important to remember that Saint-Germain also emphasized using one's power for good.
Yeah.
And serving humanity. He saw personal transformation as a catalyst for creating positive change in the world.
So it's not just about personal gain,
Right.
but about uplifting others, and contributing to a better world.
Exactly. He believed that true abundance included not just material wealth, but also spiritual riches, love, compassion, wisdom, and joy.
It's about finding that balance, between the inner and outer worlds. It's fascinating how these teachings from the 1930s, they still spark debate and discussion today.
It speaks to their enduring, power and relevance. They touch on these universal human questions about purpose, power, and our place in the cosmos.
So even with the criticisms and controversies, there's something undeniably compelling about Saint-Germain's message.
There is. He offers a path to self-discovery, empowerment, and spiritual awakening. And whether you fully embrace his teachings or approach them with a healthy dose of skepticism, there's no denying the impact they've had on spiritual seekers for generations.
It's clear that Saint-Germain's teachings, they continue to resonate with people who are seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and the universe.
His message of personal empowerment, aligning with your divine nature and creating positive change, it remains powerful and inspiring.
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of unpacking the complexities and nuances of Saint-Germain's teachings.
I agree. We've explored his core concepts, addressed the criticisms, and highlighted the enduring relevance of his message.
So what does this all mean for for our listeners today?
I think the key takeaway is that Saint-Germain offers like a path, a set of tools for those seeking to tap into their inner power and create a more fulfilling life.
He challenges us to question our assumptions, expand our awareness, and embrace the vast potential that lies within each of us.
Whether you resonate with his specific claims or not,
Right.
his teachings invite us to to consider the power of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
He reminds us that we are not just passive observers of life, but active creators of our own reality.
And that by aligning ourselves with our I am presence, we can tap into a source of unlimited potential.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I I encourage you to reflect on what we've discussed and see what, sparks your curiosity.
Explore Saint Germain's teachings for yourself.
Oh,
Experiment with the techniques that resonate with you and see what unfolds.
this deep dive has been just a glimpse into a vast and fascinating world.
There's so much more to discover, and remember the journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration, it's ongoing.
Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
And until next time, may you find peace, joy, and fulfillment on your own unique path.